So, happy Wednesday, guys. Today we've got the awesome Kevin Lockhart on the call with us. Kev's taken sort of 20, 30 minutes out of his day to kind of talk about his experience working with us in the 1% and the 1% blueprint. He's just pretty much finished up. We'll say it's been quite a journey, but an amazing one at that. Before we dig into that, Kevin, do you want to just introduce yourself, who you are, what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So Kevin Lockhart, the co-founder and CEO of a company called Coino, managed IT provider in the UK and Europe. Run a really busy lifestyle, dad of 3 kids, husband, self-proclaimed workaholic, and like a beer. So kind of everything in moderation.
Yeah, of course, as we all do, right? That's hashtag balance. So what we're going to do today, Kev, is like just ask you a few questions, talk through kind of your experience of us working together. And I think to sort of help people start off with what was going on when we first started, because some people might be in the situation of watching this, they're like not feeling the best, they're a bit like, what do we do? How can I get help? And I think that was when we first spoke. So if we rewind to when we first had a chat, what was your motivation for say talking to me? What was going on with you?
Heading towards a train wreck, I guess, more than anything. So obviously when we first spoke, it was COVID era, height of COVID, second lockdown, if I remember correctly. And I was one of the guys that first lockdown kind of threw myself into a bit of health. Second lockdown threw myself into a lot of food, a lot of wine, and a lot of laziness. So I guess predominantly my mental state was pretty bad. As you know, I'd had a bereavement in the family, and my way of coping with that was eating and drinking. I was a workaholic, managing this organization then on my own. So quite frankly, kind of, I didn't maybe have the best relationship with my wife. I was missing key parts with my children. I wasn't looking and feeling as good as I used to. And probably if we didn't meet and have our conversation, Luke, I'd probably be carrying on that path. So, probably like a lot of people, and using, hiding behind the excuse of COVID, I guess, more than anything.
Yeah. And I think thanks for like a fair and honest appraisal. I think it's one of those situations where we've said this to you, Kevin, was like, when you're in that sort of scenario, it's like you've created this almost monster for yourself, but it comes from a well-intentioned place. It's not because you want to be bad or anything. It's like you want to do your best, you want to try and smash it at work. But then what that ends up doing is putting your own physical and mental well-being massively on the back burner, and then it sort of sends you down a sort of a darker path where you end up not being where you want to be, right? And that's a tricky bit. And when you're in that, it's quite hard to sort of get out of it because you're sort of like stuck in a negative loop of stuff, right?
It's like I said, a little mini self-destruct button, isn't it?
Yeah. Exactly. So that's kind of like where we were. And what would you say was your biggest struggle, and what was like concerning you the most given that situation, that scenario?
It wasn't weight, it didn't predominantly start. I had a bit of a dad bod. I'm a short guy, so I've always been renownedly skinny. So I, unexpectedly, after I hit 35, it started catching up with me. But it wasn't. It was mental state and the way kind of, the way I was living my life, the balance, the equilibrium was out. I was getting successful with the business. At the negative effects of maybe a relationship with my wife and children, or what have you. Kind of getting a bit of a party boy reputation as well, and so but that was my main drivers. Is I kind of, as I said with you, Luke, is I think you had a post about you can have the balance, you can have it all, and I'm kind of like an all or nothing kind of chap. So that's what intrigued me.
In that course. So then look, we had a chat, went really well. We decided to work together. That was that. Let's kind of like fast forward then from where we were to like now, and let's talk about some of your achievements of where you're at and what we've done. And I think we can kind of like maybe run back again and run through and look at some of your key takeaways, which I think would, for anyone watching, that could be quite helpful and beneficial to see like kind of the process, but also that if they're in a situation like you were, like really busy, stressed, can't see the wood for the trees, well, actually, it is more than possible. So, like today, then, like let's talk about some achievements, I guess, physically, mentally, work balance. Just where are we at?
Yeah, fine. I mean, there's comment on all of the above, I guess, really, but let's physically. So I think start to finish, as I've been reflecting since dealing with you, dealing with you. Down,
Putting up with you.
yeah, putting up with you. 1 stone 4 pounds. So
Nice.
I'm actually back to my 2019 weight. Yeah, as I mentioned to you just a minute ago off camera, Luke, I had this custom made suit fitted for me in Bahrain. Quite expensive to go back and get it tailored, and it hasn't fitted me since early 2020. It now fits like a glove again. So good achievement there. Energy levels are good. Compliments from people that maybe haven't seen me for a few months as well. You know, you've lost a bit of weight, or a bit of banter with some of the lads as well. You know, all right, just because you've dropped a bit of weight, kind of thing. So physically, I'm getting back on track, getting rid of the dad bod, got rid of the love handles, actually beginning to see shapes of a 6-pack again. Obviously, it didn't come on overnight. It's not going to go off overnight. So this will continue. So that's physical. Mental is a huge difference. You know, I'm not using things like bottles of wine or beer as a you know, I've had a busy day, a stressful day, and I need to unwind as I've done for years. So I think kind of my mental state is a lot better. I do, and to quote Luke, I do some woo-woo stuff now. Like I've kind of got a lot more control of my mind than my mind has me. So you know, to-do list, journaling, a lot more structure to my day, a lot more sense of purpose. So again, pre 2019 kind of stuff. Relationship is really, really good with the wife. As you know, I set up a little journey with you and a few other people that have helped me along this way on a project that I've called Project Net Zero, yes. Which for me is to have zero operating duties within the organisation instead of all of the operating responsibilities in the organisation. And I'm on track for that. So things now that I'm doing, or I'm on the way of doing, I've booked my first 2-week holiday since me and my wife have been married for 7 years. First off, I've been away with the family, and I've left my phone in my room or what have you. I've been more present with the family. Yeah. I've booked this big flagship holiday we're going on later this year, and as you know, that's kind of the stop point for me. So I've had to do a lot of work with you and other consultants along the way to pretty much make sure I'm ready, from your perspective, I guess mentally prepared, from a couple of other people's perspective, the organisation is prepared for me to offload things. And learn to delegate rather than control everything. So, you know, right now I'm looking at going away at the end of July, 2 weeks off, not taking my mobile phone, or my work phone anyway, not taking a work email, anything like that. The only way my team will get hold of me is to call Kimberly. And for anyone that's met Kimberly, you know, you better have a bloody good excuse of why you're calling her, really. So yeah, I never would have done that. My phone was, permanently stuck to my hand. I was from the kind of, sorry, mate. Family issues. You're on mute.
Yeah, sorry about that. Real life, just letting the family in. Sorry. I was
going to say prime example of work-life balance.
Yeah, that's work-life balance, exactly. So you were saying that, like, that whole piece around getting to a point where you can book a holiday and confidently disconnect from work,
yep,
and be there, you know, for your family and be present. That's huge, right?
Yeah. Tell you what I've noticed. I mean, obviously that was always one of my excuses, and I'm sure other clients of yours, that's their excuse all the time. Can't do that. Got you know, if I take 5 minutes out, the whole business is going to
implode,
fold. Yeah. I tell you what's happened is my business has actually improved. You know, there are a few teething problems we're still ironing out, but right bums, right seats. I've learned that I can't do everything and what have you. So kind of putting the right people in the right roles has actually allowed our organisation to actually get better, to be honest.
That's it. And that speaks to that thing about the well-intentioned place. It's that, well, if I'm in control of everything, it's all fine. But ultimately, that ends up disempowering others and puts you, like, you just got too much and too much overwhelm. So taking a step back, you've been in the role that you really need to be, which is the more, you know, top down,
strategic,
senior strategic view actually allows other people to do things better and actually helps people thrive. So it's kind of a win-win. But when you're in that, it's hard to sort of like let go of that control, right? But then once you do, it's watch the magic happen.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely. I've been working with a lady called Danielle, who's come in, and I've explained her to you. The culture, helped design the culture in the organisation. Absolutely banging for what they've achieved. I wouldn't have had the courage to even do it if I wasn't working with you. So yeah, truly a good place. I feel.
So I mean, we call that Kevin 2.0, right? I think we've definitely high-fived and reached and breached that. So let's kind of like loop back in and sort of talk through. So this is where we are today. What have been some of your key? So let's say, I mean, it might be more than this, Kev, but like let's say 3 key learnings or takeaways from the process that you've been through, the coaching, the development. Like what's been your main, I guess, learning and things like this is that's had the biggest impact.
No one's coming to save you, I guess, is the big one, except for you. Like as much as I would hide behind excuses of other things, the main thing is it is fully in my control. So as soon as I own the situation, I can change the situation. I guess the eye opener is another one. When you're in the moment and you're always like, stressful, this, that, the rest of it, running around, drinking. I always go back to that because that was really kind of, that's how I would unwind effectively. I found that I was actually worse. I was a much worse person by these kind of attributes. And as I said, like a holistic view of how my life was looking outside of the 4 walls of my business was a real big eye opener. Having open and honest conversations with people, which obviously I was forced to do on many a times. They've kind of been the real kind of eye openers. The sense of purpose of why I'm even in business or doing that. Family and everything I stand for. I guess that I wasn't putting my actions weren't reflecting my.
Sometimes again, like you're working really hard and you're in the weeds and you're doing it. You can almost get a bit lost with like, why am I even? What's the purpose? Like you're just so focused on getting stuff done. It's like whoa, like, and I think that's the real. We need to sometimes take a step back and be able to look at that bigger picture. And that's not just sitting stroking your navel. You've got to get shit done as well. Like that's how business works.
Yeah.
But like, so having an ability to be able to sit and reflect on a regular basis about why I'm here, what are you doing, and what's going on. That allows for that headspace, so you can sort of focus on what you need to focus on. Because otherwise, you just end up stuck in these negative loops, right?
Yeah. So, like with that journaling, as you know, like kind of this was one of your recommendations. It's a wicked tool. I use it quite a lot. Just to kind of brain dump, not necessarily any real structure, and some of the stuff that have come out when I'm doing just a quick journal or something, it's odd. It's hallucinogenic, some of it, but it's been really good. It's been really good to kind of get mental focus.
And that it's tools like that. We talked about the alcohol piece, like using alcohol to disconnect and decompress. Like rather than using that in that way, it's like I want to have a drink and enjoy myself and have fun, and that's that. We're actually having other ways to decompress and get your health thoughts clear and disconnect at the end of the day. And I think that's really important. And I guess quote unquote healthier ways and approaches to do that versus the de facto like busy day, have a glass of wine, stressed, have a glass of wine, or like, and I'm not just saying this is you, Kevin, I'm talking about everyone. Like, had a great day, glass of wine, or beer. So it's like there's other ways and methods that we can to unwind that are more healthy, more productive.
And there's no harm in having a glass of wine either. As you know, I still do it in excess, in moderation. But I won't lay around the next day, eat a McDonald's. I won't make it worse the following day. Basically, I'll get up and I'll own, okay, crap, I've got a bit of a hangover now. Go and sweat it out, or 3 litres of water a day. And
so let's maybe speak to that a little bit, because you mentioned that about the whole like no one's coming to save you thing, and that I guess that can be, it's like, well, we're working with a coach, but it's not like I'm here to save you. It's about it's different, right? And I think that no one's going to save you, that ownership piece. What would you say about that? Like, I think that's an interesting one.
I think you as I said, like, you can't physically make me do my 50 burpees, cold showers, and all the good stuff with inside the blueprint. But you kind of made me realise I should, So I guess the main thing is, and so I'll backtrack a little bit on some of that actually, because some of the benefit, I guess, of working with you is accountability. Renownedly shit at it, to be honest. I need to be accountable to somebody or something. Otherwise, when certainly in business, when you can make all the decisions, it's hard. It's hard for the crossover. So I guess, nobody made me do the hard work. You encouraged me, and often I would, certainly in the early days, kind of have some of the teething problems and the reasons of why I couldn't quite do that. I don't know how to explain it, but there was still a bit of this thing where you were like, okay, that's fine, and I still felt a bit guilty, so I went off and did it. I mean, I don't really know where else to say with it. It's nice to have somebody, and certainly in the peer group kind of aspect as well, lots of people in the same boat as me, similar CEO, busy lifestyle, whatever it is. So
I think the accountability piece is important, because having external accountability, at least initially, to help you motivate you to do these things, because ultimately there's changes that need to be made, right? If you're, like we discussed at the start, that's where you're at, you need to make some fundamental changes to your life, mindset, practical day-to-day habitual stuff to get you where you want to be. And there's a point of like, well, what the fuck do I do? Like, what I'm doing was that.
Where do I start?
Well, some of this stuff, it's changing some quite long ingrained habits. Not that it's scary or we're doing anything horrible, quite far from it. So you need a little bit of, or you need accountability to be able to go, right, have you done this? Why not? But I think the layer deeper is there's always the do something, and then there's the sort of, like, I guess I would call personal training level of accountability, where you go, did you do it? No. Oi, idiot, do it next time. We're like, thanks. But we haven't really learned a lot. And then how would that make you accountable to yourself long term? It doesn't, because you haven't learned anything. So I guess part of the process, and you were really good at this, I think, Kevin, is like, well, just asking why. Well, what's going on? Why not? Rather than you're an idiot. And then you peel back that onion and ask a few whys, and then you start to get to the root cause. And then you can start to affect that bit, which then allows you to make a change on a slightly deeper level, which then lasts long term. Now, I put a load of words there. They're my words. What would you say to that?
I think you're absolutely right. I think one that stands out for me, a big turning point, was kind of like an aha. And again, I didn't realise what it was till kind of reflecting on it later on. Do you remember we did the exercise about, I think it was, I can't remember the exact words, but a famous celebrity that you liken yourself to?
Yes,
do you remember who mine was?
Character word, bringing out your inner shadow. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I was Hank Moody from Californication. So generally, a lovely guy, and then an absolute train wreck when he's had a beer, kind of thing. And a lot of my excuses of why I hadn't done stuff, were masking. I had a bottle of wine last night, or I was at a networking event that finished at 7, but I still got in at 10. That kind of mentality. So I think the approach was really good. It was just kind of it took a while, and it took a very long time with me, actually, to be fair, before it finally clicked. But the mind shift, or the mindset shift, is now effectively what I'm left with, rather than kind of being felt discouraged or ashamed that I hadn't maybe done a morning workout or what have you. Now it's kind of, it's longer grained, I think. It's a lifestyle change, isn't it?
And that's the important thing, isn't it? Because, like, I believe you need to have that shift and change in perspective and change in mindset to elicit proper change, because without that, you're just blindly following some stuff that might make you feel a bit better temporarily, which is great.
Yeah.
Like, if you haven't fundamentally addressed some of the reasons as to why you were where you're in the first place, and then helpfully replace them with more positive things, you're going to be stuck in that surface level spinning your wheels. And I think you need to, I think I say that's not just you, Kev, it's not the world you, like, you need to have a shift in perspective to allow this to change, because ultimately you're the sum product of your daily actions and choices, like, and how you show up and look and feel right now. That's the version of you because of the things you do most on a daily basis with your mindset, your headspace, and your physicality and your habits. But like where we were 3, 4, 5 months ago, like that was also the same thing. And so to make those change, you need to sort of, yes, there's practical stuff, but you have to have a bit of a deeper look at yourself, hold a bit of a mirror up and go, right, what's going on here? And that it's when you put those things together, well, you're the net result of that now, right?
Yeah, absolutely right. As you said, I could have done a 12-week program of just eating spinach, drinking water, and running a 10K a day, and I would have probably lost more weight. But I also probably would have put it back on by now, because unless you do the hard work and the grunt work, then it's not going to last forever, is it? So
that's it.
We spent more time on the mindset shift, than we did on many of the exercises.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the other thing. In some cases, you can, to allow you to be able to apply practically what you need to do, you need to get this in the right space. Otherwise, you're like just putting plasters on, and it's metaphorical plasters, But I think what was great with you, Kev, is that you were very open to that. Like, so some especially as men, like some like when we're doing some a bit more deep level mindset stuff, where you're being self-reflective, maybe journaling, some meditation, whatever it is. As blokes, we can be a bit like, whoa, what's that about? But then you realise you do it a bit. Well, and it's very powerful. Like, again, they're my words. What would you say to that?
No, I think they're right, and they keep me on track the next day. So these are the long-standing things. Yeah, I was a little bit apprehensive of the journaling. Was all right, I don't mind that, but there was a few things was a bit like, it's a bit touchy-feely, and it's a bit, or to quote you, Luke, woo-woo, but try them, do them, I think they made a difference. As I said, journaling is probably something that will stick around. It makes me more creative. It makes me, I actually feel a bit sharper, less tense and stressed with it and stuff. So, yeah.
Nice.
Certainly important. Yeah. I mean, like during some of the COVID stuff, there's not too much to journal about because you've done nothing. But,
that's the whole thing. I think, like, again, to help long-term change and also understand where you're at, a bit of regular self-reflection, especially if you're running a big business, like a bit of regular self-reflection and just thinking about how did that day go, where am I at, what am I thinking, like it's really good, because otherwise you can just get again sucked into the day-to-day of just like the maelstrom, and that's important. You need to do that. You can't just sit looking at the scale all day, because that's not going to work either. But having some time to just take a step back and go, am I showing up as the guy I want to show up to today, and am I doing, and just being able to just look at yourself like that, I think it's really helpful for them, because especially like yourself, guys who've got family, wife, big business, like you need to be able to have the time to just to take a little step back and be able to put things into perspective.
Yeah, it's good. It was good. Like for me, I particularly did it after I wrestled the children into bed. Literally wrestled, and then it was quite nice. Yeah, my my wife would go and have a bath or something like that. She disappears and decompresses from wrestling the kids in bed as well, and it was quite nice just to ponder on the day. What had happened, what am I doing, what could I have done better, why is that second bottle of wine just about to get finished now? Whatever it happens to be, but insightful. So.
Nice. I think that gives people a good insight as to like where you've started and like where we end up and some of the things that you've taken from this. This is a bit of a curveball, but I'll ask you to say, and you might have already covered it, so that's cool. But like, what was it, if anything, during the process that we've gone through, engaging with the coach, us working together, that was maybe surprising, or you're a bit like, "Oh, I didn't think of that," but actually it was helpful?
I never thought I'd say it because I still bloody hate them, but I can see the benefit is the cold showers.
I knew you were going to say that.
I still hate them. Not getting over it at all. But once you're out of it or what have you, you've done your little morning workout, built up a bit of a sweat, and jumped in a freezing cold shower. Pretty good. You feel really good after it. You've accomplished something. Yeah. As Brian Tracy would say, swallow that frog or whatever his book is.
Yeah,
get your hardest bit done first, and the rest of the day is really good. So
yeah, but that's it. It's like you just starting your day with a big dollop of purpose and a bit challenging. It's like no one can take that away from you. You've done that now, right? And that's that.
Yeah. I don't. Hopefully, I'll continue it. I do struggle. I still struggle. I did one this morning. Was like, yeah. But so that surprised me. As I said, the journaling wasn't a surprise. I'll tell you another one was really, really good is the no breakfast.
Yeah.
Occasionally, I have a breakfast meeting or something, so I do it. So I notice the difference. I'm a lot sharper without my head full of carbs and caffeine and I still need the caffeine, of course. Yeah. But if I don't eat till midday, I've saved a load of calories, which is good. But I feel like my mind's running on like kind of hyperdrive.
More focused. Yeah, that speaks to a good thing insofar as like when we're talking about making changes in your life. I think some people think to get physically better, but also mentally, it's like a zero-sum game. It's got to be really hard. You can't crush things because previous experience of for a lot of people of like maybe trying to lose weight or get a bit fitter or stronger from that side of things, it's always grinding. It's like a really hard, difficult thing, and it stops you doing all the things you enjoy. The way I see this, and like nutrition is a part of what we do because it's important. It's a small part of the puzzle, but like it shouldn't be that what we do makes you feel shit or it's hard. It's quite the opposite. So like, fasting, yes, part of that helps with weight loss. But the flip side is there's research show that can help increase your stronger.
Yeah.
And so it's not about. I think for me, it's important that changes that are made, and this is why it should last, is because they should make you feel better and operate better, not worse. It just so it ticks both boxes.
There's also the aspect of it. It wasn't restrictive. No, there was still. I've just seen one of my mates is watching this, and he's WhatsApping. It keeps coming up on the screen. During the Six Nations, we drank our body weight in alcohol, or in Guinness and things like that. I wasn't restricted to doing that, and I've still managed to lose, nearly 1.5 stone. So I think some of the tools and some of the mechanisms to sort of go, all right, you can go out and drink 15 pints of Guinness, just make sure you get 12,000 steps in, this, that, the rest of it. So it's not a short-term fix. It's a lifestyle change, and truly it's a balance, because I can still go out and have a good evening or what have you, and still be good the next day.
Yeah, because the thing with yourself is that like you wanted to address how you're using alcohol maybe from a stress management perspective, and that's something that we sorted out. But equally, you still like to go out with your mates now if you and have some nice time with your wife and all that sort of stuff, and even overindulge, like 10 bites. Why not? Like I don't believe there's anything wrong with that if that's what you want to do. So whatever framework and toolkit and mechanisms we give you should be able to accommodate that, and just so you understand. And that's the point, right? And so me, I like a drink just as much as the next person. It's like and anything that we created for you had it limited and stopped that, it's always going to have a limited shelf life, because when you stop doing whatever the engagement is we're doing, you're going to be going back to doing things. So what we do has to be able to accommodate that. Otherwise, it's not fit for purpose.
Yeah. And it's easier to kind of fix as round about my dad's anniversary, kind of had a proper wobble, was drinking loads and kind of couldn't get up, couldn't exercise and what have you. Peeling back the onion layers a few steps allowed me to just kind of get back on it, on the fundamentals, which are, the non-negotiables of walking and water and all that kind of stuff. Just allowed you to kind of compound it back on as well. So it's, even if I do kind of go off the rails, I did it at Christmas as well. I think that was more just overindulging, to be fair. But it's quite easy to restart the process. Don't beat yourself up. Have a good weekend and or whatever you want to do. Just make sure you've got these fundamentals and build on them again.
Yeah, and that's it as well. I guess and I know we're coming to time, Kevin. I don't want to take time too much, but I think that's a good one to end on, in that whole piece around. It's not like there's a wagon that you're on and off, because that just creates a thing where you don't want to do it. So it's like the weekend, like, well, I'm going to crack on doing what I'm doing because it feels good. Like, and again, if that isn't how it feels, I would argue whatever you're doing isn't right, because it's not going to last.
No. I mean, like, the things that won't change now, I feel like I've got a better business from it. I feel like my team are performing, not that they're not performing better. I'm not micromanaging them as much, if you like. So they're having a chance to excel and grow. So the organisation will work. My wife actually likes me, which is a bonus. So spending more time with her. I'm doing things with the kids. I'm spending time with my mum and my friends. So. And I'm booking holidays. Before we jumped on this, I was looking at booking another half-term holiday, which I just simply didn't do. I just didn't take time off. So maybe every time I take time off, things might get better. I'm retiring.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Kevin, thank you very much for your time. I know we're coming to time now, so I really appreciate you jumping on to have a chat. I think you're an absolute legend. It's been amazing working with you and seeing the journey you've been on and like what you've achieved. Hopefully anyone who's watching has had some good insights into sort of like, you know, your journey, what they can achieve, and actually that even if you are busy and stressed out your head and there's lots going on, it's more than manageable and achievable. So thank you for your time. Finally, before we get off, talking about that specifically, let's say someone's watching this, you go, that sounds great, but yeah, whatever, or I don't know, or I've even got time to commit to something like this. What would you say to someone who's on the fence a bit?
I'd say that's all bullshit. I'll be honest. I'd say they've got nothing to lose in that sense. The time is going to pass anyway. If you're sitting there watching Netflix or whatever it happens to be, so you might as well kind of invest in yourself. You know, get the better you, and get a better balance. So stop lying to yourself. That's probably the best answer.
Thank you, mate. Well, that's awesome. But on that
No
note,
worries,
if anyone is watching and they're interested in having a chat, drop me a note in the comments or send me a DM. Kevin, once again, thank you so much for your time, mate. Really appreciate it. As you know, you're welcome, and for everyone else, have an awesome Wednesday, and thanks for watching. Cheers.
See you later. Bye.